Come up early on the West Coast. He is on the telephone with us right now. One of the original Ghostbusters and great actor. I think it's more significant that he's been on Law and Order 7 times. My wife will think that too. Ernie Hudson. Good morning, Ernie.
Well, good morning, guys. It's so great to be with you and to talk to you this morning.
Now you
Even though it is early. I have no idea what time it is.
It's where you are. It's 5:36. But just forget about that.
Yes.
Where do you live out in California?
I live in a little town called Hidden Hills, right outside of Los Angeles, about 45 minutes out of town.
Is that north or south?
It's sort of northwest, going towards Santa Barbara.
I got you. My daughter used to live south down around Torrance, so.
Yes, I know that area very well.
I know the terrain there better than the northwest. Well, listen, it's a thrill to talk to you, and what a great opportunity for our community to have you coming to Greenville. You've had quite a career. We've just been everybody's been Googling you this morning here in the studio. We just learned you were a Yale graduate.
Well, I was at Yale for a year. I can't say I'm a Yale graduate.
Oh, you went well. Sometimes getting in is more important than getting out.
I'm sorry, what?
I said sometimes getting in is more impressive than getting out.
I think so. That was sort of the most important thing for me. I got in and like, okay, I'm here. And it was a great place to be. I got a movie with Gordon Parks shooting in Texas, the Lead Belly story, and the choice was to go back to Yale or to go and make the movie. And at the heart of it, I always wanted to make movies. And I also, after the first year, really began to feel like Yale was preparing me to teach, and that wasn't what I was, that wasn't my goal.
Yeah.
So it's been. I go back to Yale from time to time. It was a wonderful time. Meryl Streep was there. Sigourney Weaver was there during that time.
No kidding.
Good people, but
wow.
But I really, I'm an actor. That's what I am. That's what I do. That's my work. I was there as a playwriting student, and that's something that I feel very
awesome.
Passionate about as well. But yeah, I made a choice, and we're always making choices. So that was the choice I chose.
You have an interesting story, I understand, about your grandmother raising you. We want to talk about your career some, but let's hear that story first. Where did you grow up, Ernie?
I grew up in Benton Harbor, Michigan. My family, for the most part, had just come up from the south of Arkansas, Missouri, and settled in southwestern Michigan. My mother did not migrate when her family did. Went to St. Louis, where she became pregnant and also contracted tuberculosis.
Oh, wow.
And when she got really sick, she came up to Michigan with her family and carried the disease while she was carrying me, and I was born in December, and she died 3 months later. And
wow.
So my grandmother raised me and my brother. We grew up, the projects and in the 40s and 50s, and graduated from high school in 1964. And I look around now and I see so many things that are so discouraging to kids, and it was the same situation. I mean, there's always those things that are really trying to convince us that there's no hope. But my grandmother had I consider, a very unique sort of perspective on the world and our place in it. And I think how I've been able to navigate, and I feel very blessed. I feel God has blessed me tremendously. But so much of it came out of the teachings of my grandmother, who really just would take the time and try to, give me those tools. I spent a lot of time. I grew up in church.
Yeah.
People say, "Are you from the hood?" I said, "Well, the house was there, but between the house, church, and school, that was pretty much my." I spent a lot of time in church, and my grandmother would take the lessons that the pastor and the evangelists and the preachers would talk about, and I'd have a million questions, and she would take the time and put them in a way that she thought I could sort of get, the meaning from, because she felt those things would carry me through life, and I think for the most part they have.
Well, it sounds like you had certainly a driving force in your life, and your grandmother that helped you keep you on the straight and narrow, which is really what the Building Life Community Center, Building Hope Community Life Center here in Greenville. I'll tell you, I don't know how familiar you are with them, and I know you've probably been talking to Leslie and some of the folks here. These guys do an incredible job of reaching out to teenagers to try to give them some hope and give them which is why it's called Building Hope, and it was founded here by a East Carolina University professor and some other folks here in town that really have a desire to work with kids and give them a place to go after school and keep them off the streets and things like that. And you're going to be their guest speaker on Thursday night. You're going to have a full house here, in spite of the fact it's going to be like 5 degrees.
Well, I'm excited about it. I think it's amazing and wonderful what you guys are doing back there.
Yeah,
I think that's where the real help comes from. It comes from within our own communities, and people really reaching out and and making a decision to make a difference. And God works through all of us, and many of the blessings that I received have come from people who I didn't know, but people who were who cared enough, and that's what's important.
Let's talk about. Can we ask you? We're big fans of yours, so can we ask you some fan questions?
You can ask me anything you like.
And by the way, I've got Matt Engelbrecht over here, who grew up outside Detroit himself.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And Matt is he's a famous TV guy here in this area on the NBC affiliate.
You're saying the word famous, and we're talking to Ernie.
Yeah, well, you're almost
as famous.
You're not as famous as Ernie Hudson, but you are famous. And we got our sports guy also, Trent McGee. Now these guys. Of course, the Ghostbusters thing was such a phenomenon. When it came, you're forever going to be one of the Ghostbusters. Do you like that, or are you sick of it at this point, or how do you feel about that?
Well, I love being a part of that franchise. I'm so thankful, and I really feel some blessing to have been chosen to be a part of the Ghostbusters movie. None of us, of course, had any idea that it would, 30 years later, we'd still be talking about it. So it is a blessing. But the media has gotten to a point where almost anything you say gets turned a little bit, and so now, of course, it seems like it's definite they're going to do the all-girl Ghostbuster movie. I was asked about a year ago what I thought of it, and at that point, it was just, what do you think of the idea?
Yeah,
and I said that I didn't think it was what a lot of the fans were expecting. I think the fans were expecting, the original guys to somehow be a part of, and but that was taken to say that I didn't like women, which is not true.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's. But now it is a done deal. So now it's a different question because they're not asking me what do I think about the idea. They're saying, well, we're doing it, and I think it's it's great. I think the women they chose are.
Who's going to be in Ghostbusters? The female version. I didn't know about this.
Do you want to know?
Oh, really? Yeah. No, it's been sort of all over the media. And,
I live in a van down by the river.
I see.
Well, since it's all women, and since they haven't asked me, I haven't bothered to learn their names. But
who is it, Maddie? I know Maddie knows.
No, it's
Kristen Wiig.
McCarthy?
Yep.
I was going to say the McCarthy girl's going to be, because she's in every comedy now with women.
Leslie Jones and an SNL cast member, Kate McKinnon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's funny.
And then, two SNLs.
She's funny. Because Kristen Wiig.
Leslie does, too. Yep.
Yeah. So it's, I've seen their work, and I think they're funny, and... truth of the matter is, I think guys coming in would have probably been compared to the older guys.
Yeah.
So that might have been difficult. So maybe the women can do a whole different thing on it.
But what's going to happen? It's going to cause a resurgence of your movie, when this comes out, isn't it? I mean, people are going to want to go back and see the original when the new one comes out.
Yeah, that movie has had an amazing light. Normally, I do a lot of movies. If you can get 3 months interest, you're doing pretty good. This has sort of gone on. Kids have grown up with it. I was in Chicago. Grandparents came to the movie with their grandkids and their kids. It's just, it just has remained on the radar, and I think that's phenomenal. So whatever happens, I just feel very blessed to have been, one of the originals.
Yeah.
And, and it's a very positive movie. It's one of those rare movies that really brings families together. It's something that you can watch with your grandkid and not be totally embarrassed.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty
cool. Love the Ghostbusters movie.
And Ernie, you played in so many, or have played so many different roles. You've been fathers. You've been. I was a big follower of yours when you played in Oz. Your role there as the warden. But has any role that you've played over the years maybe changed you or had some sort of impact on you that you can look back on now and say that role, playing that role in that particular movie or that particular TV series, has really almost in a sense molded who I am now?
Yeah, I think they all do. I mean, my grandmother wanted me to be a minister, and once I said, "Mom, that's not going to happen." So she said, "Well, this acting thing, maybe that's your ministry." So in a way, this is my ministry. This is, our ministry is how we give, and so. But certainly, Ghostbusters, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle was really an important film for me to do. I think that was changing for me. The movie Congo was really important. The Crow was important. And I just finished doing a movie for TV One. I'm not sure. It'll be out Easter weekend, based on the book of Job. And it was a real difficult movie because, the story, I was playing Job, or the contemporary version of that. And it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was a real growing experience. Sometimes, you just need to just throw out all the stops and go back to basics and just come from, the heart and trust God. And so I'm excited about that. And it was real good for me to, sometimes you need to be, we say things that we think we know, but sometimes you need to test yourself. And for me, the changing role, I did The Great White Hope, when I left Yale, and
you were great in that. Yeah,
and it was life comes along in these little turns, these little curves that we come out a little bit differently, a little bit more aware.
You've done so many TV shows. Of course, some of the you named the TV show you've been on. It. We mentioned Law and Order 7 times, Modern Family, Franklin and Bash. And of course lots of movies, but. You may not know the connection. You played the principal in the Ron Clark story.
Yes.
And Ron Clark was a student here in Greenville at East Carolina University. And, of course...
Oh, is that right?
That's right. And he went on to found the Ron Clark Academy. And, of course, the story about Ron Clark has been... I think the guy from Cheers played Ron Clark in the movie.
Yes,
Matthew, what's it? The guy from from Friends.
Matthew Perry.
Matthew Perry from Friends played.
Matthew Perry, yeah. A wonderful actor and a great guy. I just couldn't call his last name, but
I said
a really good friend. I just don't know his last name. But no.
But Ron Clark is a friend of mine, and that is a heck of a story. And I remember you played the principal in that. You were great in that as well.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I've so enjoyed meeting him and some of his students, and I hope he's doing well because I really just was very impressed by him.
He's another example of a guy who's doing some of the work that you're doing and trying to lead some kids out of some bad situations. Listen, this has been fun. We could talk for. You can go back and take a nap now. But listen, for people who want to meet you in person, you'll be here in Greenville Thursday night. The event is going to be at the Rock Springs Center at 6 p.m. And it's if you want tickets, you can go to buildinghopennc.org, buildinghopennc.org. Come on out, meet Ernie. There's only a few. I can tell you, this banquet sells out every year, and there's probably only a few seats left. So I would highly suggest that you go online today and get your tickets. And Ernie, thank you so much for being on the show with us this morning. It's been a thrill to have a chance to talk to you.
Well, thank you, guys. It's been great talking to you. Thanks so much for inviting me and supporting this event, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
All right, great. Thank you, Ernie.